Kristin Lape is with us, director of the Lily Pad. Kristin, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Man, this is the celebration of World Down Syndrome Awareness Day, and I was just looking at some of the stats on it, and I didn't realize that many people in America. I've got 450,000 individuals, and that's just the kids or people with Down syndrome. Doesn't include the impacted family.
Right. It is it's very common, even though you may not think it's common. It is a very common chromosome disorder that individuals are born with.
Yeah.
But it's great. We're very blessed to have Down syndrome have people with Down syndrome in our lives, and we're blessed to have our daughter Lily.
1 in 7,700 live births result in a Down syndrome diagnosis. We've come so far on this, Kristin, over the last 10 or 15 years, understanding more of it, understanding also that a child can have a wonderful life even with Down syndrome. But you've got the microphone there. You've got personal experience. Tell us why people who maybe find out that they have a Down syndrome baby or they have some spectrum of Down syndrome, that life can be just as good one way or the other.
It's every family that has a child with Down syndrome, whether they know prior to the birth or they don't find out until after the birth, like we did, it's scary. It's an unknown, there are people that have lived the life, but it's still, to you, it's still an unknown territory. And with that comes, a little fear because you don't know or you think you know some things. But it's no different than having, a child who's born without Down syndrome. Each child learns differently. They learn at their own pace and at their own level. They may need more assistance, depending on, if their child is born with severe heart defects or mild heart defects. They're going to have surgeries. They're going to have additional therapies. Our children, because of the way the chromosomes are affected, they have low muscle tone. So that's another thing that our children have to go through a lot of therapies at younger ages, but also as adults too. It's just, there's additional doctors. Their hearing, their sight tends to be more impaired than typical children. So a lot of our children have glasses. Some don't have glasses. Some need hearing aids. It's just, every child is different. Just like, my son is different from my daughter. Whether she had, she was going to have Down syndrome or not, they're two totally different people. So it's just the same with people with Down syndrome. Everyone that has Down syndrome is not the same.
The initial blood test, was any of that brought forward, the possibilities?
You're talking about before she was born?
Yes.
We were asked if we wanted to do any testing prior to her being born. That was not something we were interested in, and the doctor was very good. He knew our choices on having our children were not going to be affected by tests we did, and it was not necessary. It's one of those that if there's something wrong in utero with your child, it typically will show up on the ultrasound. So if there's a major heart defect, if there's something abnormal that can be seen and need to be checked into, that's typically seen in the ultrasounds. But we didn't feel the genetic testing was going to help in our situation, and proceeded without it.
Tell us a little bit about why you started the Lily Pad and a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, we are 12 years into this. We initially, because Lily will be 12 this September, but we initially started the Lily Pad. It started as Running for Lily. At the time, Brent, my husband, was an avid runner in the community, and part of, in a sense, his coping and therapeutic, what he thought it was therapeutic after Lily was born was, as a runner, you always ran for a reason. Races, people wore shirts to show awareness, and he never remembered seeing a shirt saying something about Down syndrome. So he started running for Lily, and his goal was to run 321 miles, pushing her. His goal was to push her in races and show support and awareness, and it just developed, it evolved over the years. She was born in 2012. We held our first fundraiser in 2013, and that supported the Central Mississippi Down Syndrome Society and the Little Lighthouse of Central Mississippi. And we did that fundraiser for, I guess, 5 or 6 years for them. But over time, we started doing research and asking other families what their children were doing as adults. And after high school, there seemed to be a large gap of individuals not being able to find jobs and or just the opportunity to have a job.
Yeah.
So we started researching and stumbled upon a restaurant in McKinney, Texas called Hugs Cafe, and they were employing individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And we visited there a year later and told them we want to bring something like this to Mississippi. So we've been fundraising, and we've purchased a building and renovations, and we've been doing this for the past, I guess it's been five or 6 years. We were able to purchase our building in 2020, and we're getting closer to getting open. So our goal is to provide an internship program for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, give them the skill sets they need, and learn the restaurant and hospitality industry,
That is
and
incredible.
then help them transition to jobs in the community.
What age are we talking about?
This is going to be, because our goal is to be open at lunchtime during the day. Typically, it's probably going to be 18 or older. And I say that because generally our children are in the school system. They can be in the school system until 21. So if they're still in school, they would not be able to do our program since it is during that time. But it's going to be geared close to around the 18-year-old, but older too. We're not saying they have to be young adults. It can be someone older that wants a job opportunity but just needs some additional training.
Isn't that one of the advancements that we've seen that's been remarkable over the last 20 or 30 years, specifically the last 10 or 15 years? With the targeted treatment, it's amazing how much they can improve and adapt to today's conditions, anything that anybody else does.
It is.
The improvement is incredible.
Especially, early intervention, having those therapies and having that one-on-one with therapists for physical, speech, and occupational, getting that foundation, just like any child, getting there. If they have a great foundation, it just helps them tremendously in the future.
Have you been able to get a database of people maybe even in the Jackson metro area or elsewhere, people with kids have Down syndrome?
We're connected with the Down Syndrome Society in our area, but then there are so many people that are not involved in organizations that may not know about us, that may not know about the local Down Syndrome Society, or so there's some that are still out there that we may not know.
In this particular case, social media has been a godsend to kind of connect people. I want to ask you about that. Can you hang on for a minute?
Yeah.
And I'll also ask you how the old man's doing. Is he still running, or is his knees gone when we return in just a minute? It's one of those situations where people talk about want to go back to the good old days. And as far as Down syndrome, nope, there were no good old days. The medical advancements have increased the average lifespan of individuals with Down syndrome. In 1983, and correct me if I'm wrong on this one, I think it says the life expectancy in 1983 was 25 years old. Today, it's already about 60 years old. It's incredible.
That sounds correct. Actually, Lily is the second person in my family born with Down syndrome. I have an aunt and uncle who have a son that was born with Down syndrome, and he was born in 93. And the doctors the doctors told my aunt and uncle at that time that he wouldn't live past 20 because of all of the heart conditions and things that he was born with. But he's still here.
He's still here, huh?
He's still here, you know. And what do the doctors know sometimes? They can give you an estimate and a guess, but in the end, you know, God's going to tell us how long we're here for.
He has the final say. This is a very short segment. I do want to ask you, what do we need to know about the lily pad, and what people need to know about the upcoming
well, you can find more information about us at thelilypadms.com.
Mm-hmm.
But our goal is to open this summer. We're in the process of hiring a manager, and after we find a manager to bring on our team, we're going to try to start taking applications for our interns for our program. And we have an event. Our annual fundraiser is Saturday, April 13th. It's called the Leap for the Lily Pad. It's a family-friendly event that everyone can come out to. It's an evening time event.
Where's that going to be in the state?
It's going to be in Ridgeland, just around the corner from our location. It's going to be held in the green space at Methodist Rehab Center off of Jackson Street in Ridgeland.
Your physical location is where?
Our physical location is North Wheatley Street in Ridgeland, Mississippi. We're in the old town, now called the Railroad District, right by the railroad tracks in Ridgeland.
When you're talking about applicants, what criteria is there as far as applicants that
we're going to include that all on the website, but it is not only for individuals with Down syndrome. So it will be individuals who may be on autism spectrum disorder or have other intellectual and developmental disabilities. But like I said, we're going to be looking for individuals who want to work, who want to have a job, but just may need additional time and, you know, energy. And right now, restaurants and other businesses may not have that additional staff to provide that training.
Website one more time is?
At thelilypadms.com, and our event is Leap for the Lily Pad.
Got a Facebook page?
We do.
It is?
Oh, you got me on the spot there.
When
it's a little different.
Yeah, they all are.
You know,
they all are.
Unfortunately,
right here.
Is it Lily Pad Cafe?
You got it at the Lily Pad Cafe.
And Instagram is completely different too. It's you know, everybody grabs them.
But X is the same, the Lily Pad Cafe. So there we go. All right, one more thing here is the old man still running? For folks that don't know, Britt used to be part of the SuperTalk family quite a while ago.
I don't know if he appreciates the old man comment.
I know. Is he still running?
He is running behind our children. That is about the extent of our running these days. They keep us busy.
Liz, it's a pleasure. Thank you so very much. We know more about this now and excited about the opening.
And thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you coming.